The Gifted is a movie that is directed by Marc Webb. That's right, Marc Webb of 500 Days of Summer fame. He's also the man behind the amazing Spider-Man films, so depending on what you thought of those movies, you might get excited when I mention Marc Webb, or you might want to break your neck Gwen Stacy style when I say that. Either way, this movie has a really talented cast. It stars Chris Evans, that's right, Captain America, trying to move on after the events of Civil War. It stars McKenna Grace, Octavia Spencer, fresh off of her Oscar nomination for Hidden Figures. The story in this movie is about a girl. It's all about this little girl. This is a little girl who lives with her uncle, played by Chris Evans, and they have a quiet life, they have a nice life, they have a fun life. Oh, but did I mention that this girl is incredibly smart? Like, she's stupid, ridiculous smart. Oh, she's like Matilda and Dexter put together, except without Matilda's telekinesis and without Dexter's laboratory. She's like a mathematical genius, and so this attracts the attention of some people, most notably her grandmother. Her grandmother, played by Lindsay Duncan, comes in there and then tries to separate the uncle from the daughter because of something that she's after, so we have a big custody battle, and then we have a movie where, you know, we have to root for whether or not Chris Evans gets to keep this girl or not. I will say that Marc Webb is suited more for these type of movies than he's suited for the big budget superhero movies, but what does that say about this film? I don't know. Let's discuss. Boy, talk about a tearjerker. Oh my god. Do not cry while reviewing this. Now, I'm just kidding with you guys, but this movie really does go for the feels, and it really does try to hit you in your emotions. What I will say about this movie is that the relationships in this movie are really well fleshed out, the character development is really well done, and the performances all around are really great. Chris Evans, this is some of the best work that I've seen from him. He plays kind of a laid-back person, but a person who does have some baggage, a person who does have some emotional issues. He does it in a really subtle way. He feels kind of restrained throughout this entire movie. I gotta give credit to his performance for that. He really grounded the character and made him a relatable, fun guy. Everyone else, Lindsay Duncan did great work. Octavia Spencer does really great work. She plays a concerned neighbor who is really good friends with this girl. But really, the girl, as she should be, is the star of the movie. McKenna Grace is brilliant in this movie. She does such a great job of balancing and towing the line between mathematical genius and therefore much more adult than the other kids her age. But at the same time, she's still just a kid. She still wants to have fun. She still laughs. She still smiles. She still feels things the way a kid would. And McKenna Grace did such a great job portraying that out of this little 7-year-old girl. Over the course of the movie, because these characters are so well fleshed out, and because they put so much attention into the relationships between these characters, it stirs something in you, man. What can I say? It gets you a little bit emotional. It gets you in the feels. There are a couple of scenes in this movie where the musical score really does hit you at that right moment where you're supposed to be feeling something. And I know my tear duct was giving me all kinds of hell. I didn't cry, but my tear duct was like knocking on the inside of my eye. I was like, hey, shit's about to go down. And I was just kind of like, nope, I'm not going to become one of those single tear people. I hate that shit. I'm not going to be a single tear person. If I'm going to cry, both tear ducts have to cooperate. So what do you say? My other tear duct wasn't really cooperating because that tear duct was attached to the part of the movie that I didn't like, which I'll talk about in a second. Long story short, I didn't cry because I didn't want to become single tiered, because I'm fucking weirdo, I guess. This movie is well acted. This movie has great characters. This movie has great chemistry between the characters. This movie does have a pretty touching musical score, and it also has some really good humor placed throughout this thing. And because of all of those things I just mentioned, they almost got me. Oh, they almost got me. I see what you trying to do, movie. I see what kind of game you playing. I get you. I can peep game. You really thought you was gonna get me. You thought you was gonna trick a trickster? You can't finesse a finesser. What was you thinking? You can't pull wool over this wool. I'm too smart for that shit. What I'm basically trying to say is that the screenplay in this movie is very deceptive. This movie tries to get you in your feels so much. It tries to get you in your feelings and tries to hit a nerve emotionally so much that it'll try to get you to forget about the lazy storytelling and writing issues that plague this movie. This movie does gloss over some things that in hindsight don't really make a lot of sense. Example, towards the end of the movie, there's something happy, there's something that is supposed to be leading towards a happy ending. You're supposed to be like, yeah, you're supposed to be like, yes, I'm so happy for this, I was invested in this and it's paying off. Yes, it's gonna be a happy ending. But then the other half of my mind connected to that tear duct that just wouldn't cry is like, well, wait a minute, legally and logistically, how would this work? Now they just kind of gloss it over and skip past it, and you could say, well, we, the audience, should assume, but to me that's just lazy storytelling because it's not implied in the script. When it happens, I'm just kind of like, well, wait a minute, I don't think legally this would make a lot of sense. I don't think realistically they could just get away with whatever's happening right now. There are storytelling issues like that plague this movie. Also, the grandmother in this movie, who is really the sole purpose behind this big custody battle that pops up during the middle of the movie. As far as for when and how she actually shows up, it kind of glosses over that too. It's kind of like she just shows up out of nowhere for very little explanation or reason. Because of these storytelling issues and because of the fact that the movie is a little bit predictable, you can kind of see where certain things in the movie are going to go. I felt really good leaving the theater, but the more I started to think about this, the more the writing issues became more apparent. I will say The Gifted gets right over average. It's right over average. It's a positive rating, but on the low end of the positive scale. Alright guys, that is my review for The Gifted. It's in limited release this weekend, so if you have a chance, you should probably go check it out. You might cry. I know I didn't. Be sure to like and subscribe to the Superfan Show, and as always, if you like what you see, tell me how you feel, and stay tuned to hear more from the Man of Steel. Peace!